All right, are we working? Check 1, 2. Hey, we're back. We're back, baby. All right. Let's get into it. So, building on this series of order flow footprint reading and how I go about it, we first covered the basics, the 101, right? The basics of understanding framework of a footprint chart, how I have it designed, how I read it, how I use my Delta studies, how I have those coded, what they mean. And we've done some replays together. In the second video, we touched upon fractal mathematics, how I use my levels, and how I use order flow with those levels. Okay, order flow is a confirmation tool of those levels. And we did some really awesome replays, and you watched how algorithmically traded those levels, and it was an awesome session. We're going to start digging into order flow a little bit more here. We're going to kind of take it little piece by piece here. And the big one that I want to talk about today is absorption. That's a big one, right? Absorb, right? Absorption. And we'll do this here on the MNQ. The MQ. What are we on here? Oh, MNQ. I took the MNQ because it's much more thicker than the last couple ones we did the ES here, but we'll look at the MNQ because it trades a lot of size, and you'll see how the absorptions take place. We're just going to pick a random day, and we're just going to watch it, and we'll speed up tape, we'll slow down tape, and we'll replay areas that are really, really interesting that I can point out to you guys on how they transact. But let's get into absorption kind of 101, right? Quick disclaimer, I'm a father first. My kids are a lot of times playing in the background. This is real life. I'm not some dude who puts, crazy edits on videos, but what you're going to find here is absolute golds. You'll see my kids running around in the background, and blur background. It is what it is, man. I'm a father first, trader second, and kids always come first. The other time I got to get up and get them a drink and whatnot. Hey, man, that's life. All right. So anyways, let's get into this video. Okay. So today, what are we going to cover? We're going to go step by step here. The big one, absorption. Okay. So what is absorption? Absorption for me is a very large bid or offer that shows up on the tape that takes on the inventory of the other side of the auction. Okay. So it's a large print. Let me take this hat off 1 sec here. It's my earpiece fell out. Great. Oh. All right, a little bit less hot here. What was I saying? Oh yeah, inventory absorption. Okay, so it's somebody on the opposite side of the auction that takes on a significant amount of size, and that size creates an imbalance tape. Now they do this very sneakily, right? There's many ways of how they hide their transactions, and there's like basically two different ways on how they do it. One is passive and one is aggressive, and we'll find examples of both of them on the tape that you can try to identify. Again, these are my Sierra charts footprints. They look a lot different than other platforms. Don't ask me about other platforms. I don't deal with them. I do everything inside Sierra. It's just what it is. So there's a number of ways they transact. Okay, passive and aggressive. What is passive? Passive is really interesting because they sneakily hide it. So the absorption takes place over a range. Okay, so on the NQ, on the ES, I can tell you it usually takes place around between 5 to 7 points. NQ, it could be about 30 points, 40 points. But it's very obvious, right? So what does that mean? How do we spot it? Usually we're going up, and we're going up, and prints are fine, and then say we're doing like, plus 300 deltas there every 30 ticks, and it's just constant buying. We're going to hit a point in the auction where we engage with a seller, right? And a seller, you're going to see all this positive buying, and all of a sudden price continues to go up, but every 30 ticks that delta is turning red as it goes up. So they're really good with the algos is how they inflect selling. They sell just enough to keep the price going up, and they absorb just enough to not disturb the auction. But what you'll see is when we find a passive seller is they absorb all the inventory as it goes up until there's nothing left. So you could have, say, we start going up, we find 2,500 done here, 1,800 down here, 1,500 done here, 1,200 done here, 800 done here, 500 done here, 150 here, 60. So as it comes up, they sell just enough not to disturb the move that's going on, and then they absorb everything in the book until there's nothing left. Buyers left. That's when we see a very thin print at the very, 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 very top, and that means there's no business to do there. And then we wrote down. That is how they hide their size, and we see it all day long. But we'll find some examples here today, hopefully, of that, and we'll isolate them and then run them in real time so you can see how they do that. They're very, very good. But when you spend thousands of hours of watching this stuff, you'll start to see it time and time again. I see how they do. And you're only going to see it if you spend hundreds and hundreds and thousands of hours replaying this stuff. See the patterns of how they transact. Okay, so it's very interesting. Likewise, on the bid, we're selling down, and then they start to interject some serious size, just comes in randomly, but we keep going down, and they're pretty much matching every level almost, contract for contract. But then the transacted volume as you start coming down gets smaller, and then there's no more inventory to sell, and then price just versus. And where they interjected the big volume to absorb low, that's where your stops are. So once you print over there, it's bing, see you later, right? Everybody who's low in that move or high in that move are going to get their stops ran. That's order stuff that we've talked about many times during this series. What is an aggressive seller? That is usually like an iceberg order or somebody who just shows up and will just take on a crap ton of inventory size contract within a really tight range. So what you'll do, we'll see here on the NQ, we'll probably see sellers step up and buyers step up, and they'll absorb 7,000 contracts, 6,000 contracts, within like what's 30 like a 10, yeah, like a 10-point range. And you'll see these large sellers just show up. Now, they're not in the order book with like 8,000 contracts. So this is how they hide this type of size. What usually happens is they'll do iceberg orders, right? So they'll have a limit out there for whatever, say in the order book for like 150 contracts or something. That gets hit, and then it's followed by a friggin' wall. Either markets in, usually not, and it's a refreshing limit that just continues to refresh, and you can't buy through it. It's like unlimited refreshing going on, right? So they hide their size in the book, and this is why I don't care about the book, right? I don't care about the order at all. I've said that many times. I don't care what's on the dome, right? I care about who's transacting, because once I see that on the tape, I'm like, oh, okay, here comes the big dog, and you could see it on the footprint. You can see them absorbing price, taking on stuff. That is a very aggressive seller who just sits there and says, give me everything you got. I want my fills. Now, that goes two ways. It's either he's going to hold price there, and everybody who just bought into that seller, he's going to start ramming price down once there's nothing left to buy at that specific location. He starts ramming price down. Or if he fails, he's going to send price higher, say on the sell side. He's going to send price higher because now he has a massive position to unload, and he has to unload fast, but there's not enough liquidity most likely in the order book to get him out right away. So if he's got to offload like 3,000 contracts, it's going to go right, and that's where your stop run. Okay. It's very, very, very consistent. You see it all day long. in this stuff. We're going to get into it, right? So again, that brings you to my next point, execution with iceberg. Judging size. So this is an important one. You got to know your auction. Okay. So on the ES, when I see, whenever I see a 10K print, that's a large guy, right? You see them all the time. But when it does show up, you got to respect it. Right? It's a big wall. Or you see like 3,800, 4,200, 5K. You see these large positioning absorptions, right? Sometimes it can be like 15, 20K on a passive absorption. When it goes down. You do the quick math. You're like, holy fuck, 7,000, 6,000, 3,200, 1,500, 1,500, 800. You quickly do the math and just put it together. You're like, okay, that guy took on like 15, 20,000 contracts. Not all of it is one person, but you can tell the bulk of that was like interjected aggressively, right? So a lot of that volume was by participant there. So that's something to really take note of, is judging the size, right? You want to really pay attention to the print. If you have an absorption, it's just like normal size that you see like day to day, like nothing incredible. I don't put a lot of weight on it. That's just normal. I see the larger positioning. That's the stuff I really want to pay attention to, right? We'll see plenty of that, I'm sure, here on this day. We're going to do, I don't know, day in June here. We'll just replay it from the open. Talk about it. We'll isolate some parts and we'll play it. Using absorption of stops, I talked about that. So usually, either this guy holds the auction long or short or not. And you can judge me being like, this guy doesn't hold it, we're going up. So if this guy starts to get chewed through and you're leaning on him to hold the auction, you're trading with him, you got to get out before him. And that's when you see the deltas start spinning like 350, 900, 1100, 1200, 1500 deltas on the positive side. Say you're short, you got to get out before that guy who's got all that inventory has to. This is where it's really important to understand your positioning in relation to him. Makes sense. Got to understand when you're trading with the big dogs, you want to try to get out before they have much more size. They got to load. And if you don't, if they're wrong, right, which happens all the time, if they're wrong, they send the price way against you, and you're guaranteed to stop. But if you're clever enough and you can read it, you can sneakily get out for them, right? When business is done, I know I'm kind of rushing through these things, but we're going to see them in what's about this. When business is done, it's usually thin prints. There's no more business to be done. So say we have a passive buyer, and price is going down. He's just absorbing price, and the prints just get thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner. Bottom, like I said before, and then there's no more business to be done down here. He's absorbed all the buyers. No one that wants to buy down here. Anybody who does want to buy, not significant. He's got his fill, and now he can back up. Right? We want to trade with those guys. See these signs on tape, right? This is absorption. This is how they do it. Their whole goal is to hide their size as good as. The cool part about the footprint is that they have to transact. At the end of the day, this is my whole theory. Is like they have to transact. So they will do anything to hide their size, their intent, right? But they can't not transact. They have to transact. So they don't got a choice. All right. And that brings me to my last point here is how they hide it. I talked about that iceberg, passive selling and passive buying. As price is going down, they interject just enough to keep the motion going, but they hide their size. They layer in their absorptions, right? So they can't sit there with like 4,000 contracts on a single tick, right? They gotta hide it. They gotta stretch it out so they're not so obvious, right? But when you develop these techniques on how to read the tape, you'll be able to see this stuff for yourself, right? It's really, really important. And this is where you can gain a lot of edge on what you're seeing in front of you. Really have an understanding of the auction. This is what's important. You want to understand what is going on. Okay? Candlestick chart, forget about it. You got no clue. I don't care what you say. You don't. And you'll feel much more confident that you're trading with somebody, right, that has a significant stake in the auction at a certain point in time, right? Feel a little bit more confident about your entry. Be like, okay, cool. I want to trade with this because I understand what just transacted here. I'm comfortable, right? And that's the whole goal of the series, is to give you a standing. Okay, I'm just gonna go get a quick glass of water here, and I'll be back in like seconds here. Sorry, I should have got it before here, but we're gonna get into replays here next. We're just gonna talk our way through everything we just kind of went over. Okay, so I know I'm going a little bit faster today, but the replays is where we really break down. Okay, I'll be right back. All right. Woo! Like I said, I'm a dad first, trader second. That being said, let's get into the tape. So we're gonna watch the MNQ. Trades a lot of size, and we're gonna see some absorptions. Okay, so I think on this first candle we get an absorption. This is gonna be a 10-minute candle. In this first push, we get an absorption. So a really big one. So we'll see an open. Sorry. Here, okay, let's go. There'll be areas here that will pause and we'll replay and we'll speed through if we don't see it. Once we see something interesting, we'll rewind it, break it down. Okay, so we get this big push here, and you see down here. Give it a sec here. So this is kind of interesting. So watch this. This isn't anything crazy here, but you see this large seller who steps down here, 2155, right? Watch this 1482 and down here. Let's see if we go from 2155 to 508 contracts. So it's a significant drop off right here. I know this is right at the open, so everything changes, but let's just watch what happens. Okay, so we make a new low. So he gobbled up this inventory here, and we made a new low. When we make a new low, this is exactly what I talked about. We only sold 8 contracts into my level right here at 762. So as soon as I see that we make a new low or make a new high and there's no business to be done, price can now possibly reverse back up, right? But again, this is right at the open. So a lot of times this stuff just gets, this is the same, the concepts are still the same. So absorption, so came down, and once we make that new low, there's nothing to sell here, right? Let's just see what happens. Now the difference is if they pound this 8. Okay, so now you see this 2450. Now you got 2027 beside it. They've absorbed quite a bit, right? They've absorbed everything that came down there, and there's nothing to sell. Now you got this package of tape right here that everyone's short, basically is chart traders. Short 800, right? Okay, cool. Do that. This is why I keep saying you got to know the levels. They're not buying at 800, right? Right? You guys are shorting 800 because it's 800, right? They're buying down here, 20, 30 points. Ram it up here, right? Let's keep going. So at this point, if this gets open over the open print here, you can do some quick math and say 2, 4, 5, 6,000 contracts here, 7,000 contracts here, short below 800, right? So if this thing catches a bid over 800, all of these guys are in trouble and they got to stop out. They're all going to stop out over like 815, 820. Very obvious, right? That's a very nice absorption down. Now I want to get something that push. I think we push into here, then we see a large seller interject. So we're just going to let this run. Let's back down into that absorption. So this is positioning, right? So if these guys get ran through, they're going to stop out and we're going to flush lower. You can just see everyone's short here below 800. Very, very obvious, right? Now look at this. This is great. Look at this right here. 4,621 contracts bought, 4,469 contracts sold. There's literally a difference of 152 contracts at this area. This is absorption. There is somebody here that is dumping and somebody here who is buying, right? They're dumping into this bid. The bid is dumping into the sellers, right? This is selling volume. This is buying volume. So there is a massive fight here at like 95, 90, right? Look at this print. This is exactly what I talked about. They match share for share, right? Contract for contract. If you add these deltas up together, you've got negative 2635 right here, and these two together is like positive 2300. So they're so close in size. Now watch this number 8 at the very bottom. A lot of times we make a second swipe and there's nothing there and it goes up. If they can't even trade into this weak print, that tells you business is possibly done the next time we put it back up. Look at this. This continues to just be a massive thing here. 1,964 bought, 3,000 sold, 4,700 contracts bought, 5,700 contracts sold, 5,600 contracts bought, 55 contracts sold. You add it all together, you're close to 15,000 contracts here, right? A little bit less, 12, 13. This is big size. This is a large position absorption. Matter of who's going to win. Really look at this 90. Now, does this stop? Who's going to stop? Now, look at what's happened here. 7,300 bought, 7,100 sold. The buyers are starting to take over this auction. 241 on the positive delta side by side. There is some signs here on the date. This is a large short position. This is a large battle that's going on here. There's equal amounts of buying and selling going on, all in this little range. This is great tape. This is all going on in the open first 2.5 minutes of the open. 8,700, 8,900, 8,700. Look how incredibly tight this auction is. But there's some information here, really, really good information. Now this positive delta is back up to like 260. Now it's almost 300. Look at that. Now the buying's getting a little bit more aggressive. It's trying to get away from this seller. The sellers are still right there refreshing. Now look at this, 10.5K, 10.1K. Look at the positive delta, 460. There's so much buying going on here. The seller is still here. He's trying to stop it, and now it starts to get away from him. So now you can look at this right now and go, shit, 11, 6, and 2, 11, 6, 17, 18, 19,000 contracts rotated from basically 97 down to 64. My levels rate, 64. That is a ton of people short under 800. And this is 6 minutes, 4.5 minutes into the open. And you can immediately see the positioning and the absorption of that positioning. Very, very good, incredible tape right here. All they got to do now is spark a bid over my 812. If they spark a bid over 812, these stops alone are going to take us higher. Who's going to win? So we plunge back down, right? The sellers aren't out of ammo yet. They get another chance to go low. Now watch what happens here. I don't know. I'm just commenting on it. It comes up. I'm watching this is what, June 16th on the NQ. I don't know what happens here. Okay, so see how they're into the zero print and now they're trying to sell the lows. Right? So now sellers get a chance to take on, try to push this lower. Now, a lot of times when we have this type of positioning, when we make a new low or a new high, I watch to see what the prints look like. So right now, they just drop down. Watch this. See what happens here. Okay, let's break that down. Go rewind the video. What happened? We had a zero print here. There was no business to be done down here. Soak, 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 soak. Buy, 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 buy. Buyers couldn't take it up. We come back down into this absorption area. What do? We slammed and we made new lows. What happened? All these people right here on this side sold the new lows. 3,500 contracts sold the. They came in and bought pretty much all of it right behind us. So as soon as we made a new low, buy, 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 they came in behind it, scooped it all up, and you can see by this positive diagonal. Immediately, everybody who sold that new low, we start pulling up on. This is why you never buy breakouts. This is why you never sell it. This happens. So an incredible absorption here. So you can look at that and be like, wow, 3,500 contracts just sold the new lows and we're pulling up on them, right? That alone is stops. Let's see what happens. Now, if we pull back into the offer here into 95,800, does this 7,332 refresh heavy? You see now we got all this aggressive buying coming in here. Look at this. All this side diagonal delta is all just like buy, buy, buy. But you can draw a line at our huge positioning here, all selling above, all buying below, right? This is an incredible pivot, absorption pivot right here. Like my kid's cup. Pretty cool, hey? All right, here we go. So now, now you can look at this and go, holy shit. Under 800, down to my level here. 62.5, 61. Do some quick math. Right? 13, 17, 27, 34, 37, probably close to 40,000 contracts in total, maybe down here, 35, 37,000 contracts. Everybody faded 800. Surprise, surprise. Market set the trap. Now they can ram your stops higher. So you can have confidence in that absorption because the positioning is big. So now everybody that's sold into that buy absorption is now trapped. Those are stops. Now this market will try to turn here over my 812, the open print right on my level, and they will try to push the stops higher. Look at the buying coming in there, 430. Look at all that positive buying coming in. Now that's stops and people saying, yep, let's go. Now let's see if we encounter selling higher. Before the open, we had some good absorption here, good selling positioning here around 846. Again, 850 shorts, right? People short 50 and 100. Retail trader, right? So let's just see what else this shows us. This is all happening in the first 10 minutes of the open. So there's a lot of information here. My kid's crying, man. Just hang on 1 second here. Okay. So we got a lot of buying coming in here, right? There's large, consistent buying. And they're going to push up into here. They're going to try to take on these stops that are right 840, 850. Okay. Strong buying kicked in here right at 640, right where they were selling the selling stop. Oh, hey, hang on one sec here. I got to help my game. Sec. Got to keep it going. So everything's all good. All right. So now let's just pick up where we went. Okay. Strong buying coming in. So we covered this absorption right here. Really, really good stuff. Now let's see if something interjects higher. Let's see if they can take on these stops here to 50. See how this seller is starting to come. See how we took on that inventory there right into 25. So 3,400 contracts bought, 2,774 sold. It's not a huge absorption, right? But it is an absorption. You can see it by the negative delta here, negative 2,700 contracts. I think we push a little bit higher here. I think we can push, we try to push into here. So far, this has been good, even on the first 10-minute candle. We can even zoom in on this a little bit. Right, and that's even more pronounced. See that soak right there? Now we've got good bid support, right? Like this absorption is bid support, right? This is where it goes back to the first thing in our videos where it was like, this is real support, right? So we got about, 2.5 minutes? We're watching this in real time. I'll speed it up 2x here. We'll just watch it a little. But we're just dissecting this tape live. Play back a certain day, and we're just dissecting tape. You do see this large absorption rate. Now you're seeing a lot of bidding coming in. So they're going to try to lift the offer. There we go. New high right into the offer. So this is interesting. So you see how we made a new high right there? So we had a huge absorption here into 30, made a new high. They gobbled up the inventory and then no bid. So this goes back to my original explanation of a more of a passive seller. Come up, sell, nothing left. So when you go from 6,200 contracts buying to 2,100 contracts buying to 70, that is a massive drop off. That is a massive drop off. That's where I talk about business being done, right? There's no bid into the 40 where these previous sellers were. No bid. So we have to find a bid that's willing to bid here higher. This is good information. This is a nice selling. So next time we come up here, watch 70. Bid. Watch 70, 89. You see how the seller is just sitting here, just taking on inventory because he's, look at this negative delta. But now you got to watch. They have to bid. If this 90 starts screaming, and you'll see this on this 86, this thing will just start spinning 300, 400, 500. Then you're like, oh, here comes. Goes from 1,049 to 86, right? Just a big bid drop off. So again, another 10K absorption here. Watch this. Watch what happens. Can we get past it? Look at how much they added. Wow. Hey, look at that. Like negative 2,200, I think, or negative 2,500. They both moved to negative 3,400. So that's another 2,000 contracts total. There's a big selling block right here with a very weak bid. That was a beautiful sell absorption. See how it came in? So it looks really strong buying, right? And then it comes in behind it, starts taking it. So it looks really strong. It doesn't look weak when it pushes into it. It pushes in strong, right? And then they come in behind it and they're just well. So there's somebody there refreshing, not going away, right? Until he's got his fills. Very good tape there. 8 plus 3 is 11,000 contracts, right? Pretty big soak. So we'll see how this candle closes. They're probably going to close it right on my level here at 812. Got 10 seconds. Back into the support. So here's our bid, right? Our bid is, this it's a trade here. Set up for the ES here. So tiny little stop there. Just leave it alone. I'll cancel the orders. It wants to go long right here. All right, so we opened this on the absorption bid. And what happened? We opened it right away and we bid. So now we're coming back up, and can we bid past 40, right? We need to find bids past it. There's stops here. Let's see where they absorb it again. Let's see if they try. Okay, you see how he is as soon as we come in here, we're already negative 1,200. So this positioning is bringing inventory back on. He's saying, yes, give it to me, give it to me. Give it to me. Okay. We get a stop run. Strong buying coming in here at 20. Right? You see that? 20, 25. See that 650? There we go. See it coming in. Now here at 32. Trying to buy through the stops. Watch 40. Remember? Watch this. Okay, let me stop. Okay, look at this. Where we bought 89 contracts before, we're now buying 1,600. There is a large buying coming in here. You don't short this. When you see this, if you're shorting this wick and you see this bid step in, it's get out. Get out. Constant bidding. Look at these buying balance and look at the strong bidding. 560, 896, 760. There's a constant, strong, aggressive buying coming in here. Okay, so let's see if we come up to here in a 58, and let's see if we develop any type of resistance or if we can scoot all the way up here to 9. Let's see where the next sell absorption comes. Sellers are still trying to fight here at 40. See if they can take on that inventory. Woo, look at that. 26. Yeah, there we go. Well, plus 1,200, plus 3,200 here, smacking in total. 3,400, 3,500. Look at the sellers coming in here trying to stop it. Okay, so sellers are still here. They're selling 850. This is the chart trader area that chart traders sell 50, sell 100. Watch how they interject. There's a lot of people buying here. 4,100 contracts, but this is coming in behind. Scoop up that inventory. You can see we get a positive side-by-side delta of 1,400 contracts, but we have a strong negative sell imbalance of 2,000 contracts. Let's see who wins. Strong buying, trying to bid through it, but let's watch. So 4,200 contracts gone. What I would do is I would draw, we just do this. We'll just signal it. So this is where your bid is. Your bid on this push has moved up to here. So it's your bid is trying to bid for it, right? That's where it is. Now we got to watch what happens into this level. Hey, story, hey? What looked really strong, you're now seeing everybody bought what? This is why we don't do this. You draw a line right here. This is actually at the previous high as well, where the sellers were. Previous session high. What did everybody do? They bought the breakout. Right here. 10,000 contracts long. Right? As soon as people started to buy it, they started selling into it. Boom. We moved higher. Okay, everyone's happy in the breakout, right? It's going higher. It's going higher. But look what happens. This is what I'm talking about. Passive selling. 5,200 contracts bought, 3,500 contracts bought. We're just like, yeah, we're going up high. We're going up high. 743 contracts bought. The bid drops off. We do a significant drops off. As we go higher, the bidding drops off. Okay, the sign. This is absorption. Okay, now our bid support is here. So now if everybody who bought this breakout, we start pushing below them, we run those stops. This is how you always know the positioning of what's going on, right? You'll always know what's going on. Okay, let's let her go. That's very P-shaped as well, right? It's a very distributive auction. Let's see who wins this. Don't buy breakouts, son. There you go. But I always say, man, because I see it on the tape. I see what they do to you on the tape. They get you comfy, right? They let you work. They're like, yeah, this is going great. And all of a sudden, just sell into you. There we go. So now we rotate back down. So everybody who bought that 10,000 contracts long just got sold into, right? Shitty. But that's how it goes, right? When you buy the highs, sell the lows, you're always at risk of that happening. I see it every day on the tape. So this is why I always look for offside position traders, because I understand how you transact. You buy breakouts. You buy $100. You buy $50, right? I look for the traders, large traders who actually move the market to interject there and to fade you there. Do it. Okay. It's really good. We got some beautiful absorption here, breakout trap. This is all going on in the first 15 minutes, right? So you can see how much information you can pull from this shit during the entire trading day. So we'll see if people now want to buy at the open print. My level here is right at 812. Right? Open print's literally right on top. We'll go one more candle. I could break this down all day long. But now look how layered that sell absorb selling imbalance, right? That's a heavy sell into 840. That's a really heavy sell. That's what you got to buy through. Can they buy through it? Yeah, they can. That's what they have to buy through. So now they're taking another run at it. See? Look at the run. So now can they get it? Now they got a chance to run stops. Can they get it? Now everyone's buying new highs, right? Watch the new high prints. We got 2.5 minutes left on this candle. Let's see how it closes. Everyone's trying to buy breakout, new highs, buy it, buy it, buy it. There's still a passive seller here who's trying to sell into the push. Ooh, look at that. Interesting. See if they get the close. Let's see where they take it to. Ooh. See that? This was really. It's a great tape, man. Oh, hang on a second. I got for my kids. We'll break this down. This is really good stuff. So, this is really cool. We had a really weak sell print. They absorbed. You see how they pushed more? Everybody bought this breakout now over 50, right? If I was to move this line up, by 50. Literally right here. Look at everybody who. How you know how retail. What did I say? Retail buys 50. They sold. As it went up, they sold into. This is a passive seller. They let it go above, and they absorbed everything into your. Okay, 8,300 contracts, 5,100 contracts, 1,800. See how as you move up, there's less and less volume being bought. They're taking everything you're buying as it goes up. They hide the absorption. Now, if I zoom in on this a little bit more, you'll see it thin out probably even more. Right? 6,800, 3,600, 1,756. It continues to drop off. What if I zoom in a little more? Now look at it. 5,300, 3,063, 1,531, 353. Look at all those buyers, and everyone who longed here over 50 could possibly, I'll say possibly because they could bid it, could possibly be trapped. Let's see how this ends. Tighten this up here. Let's see who wins here. I'll just shut up and let it trade. Let's see if the buyers got what it takes to go higher. Now, it'll be a stop run past here if the buyers are able to get it. But what I want to point out is the absorption, how they do this, right? There we go. Buyers are stepping in. They're trying to get it. Watch every new high that we make from here. See if we can get to 908. Weak sell print or weak buy print. Let's see if they can find the bids here past 80. Seller stepping in here, rate at 75. Look at that. Wow. Woo! That's exactly what I just talked about. Look at all those people who bought 76. They absorb. That's a aggressive seller. Okay? You see how that came in? Go rewind the video. Came in. Buy. This guy, as soon as we hit 78, 2,600 contracts bought, 2,200 contracts sold. He came in and scooped everything up. We made a new high, and there was no bid in the 90. So everyone who continuously bought the breakout, no bid left. Bid was pulled immediately. He took everything that was here until there was no one left to bid, and then market immediately reversed. Textbook tape. That was great. This is a great video. Great tape, actually. It's everything that I kind of talked about. And see how the market reverses? So when there's no business to be done anymore, the market has to reverse because it wants to go find where they can do business. If we can't do business here, we got to go somewhere else down, right? And that's what that auction, even in this little area, that's what they did. So that, in a nutshell, is absorption. You will see this all day long. You'll see it all day long. ES, NQ, doesn't matter what auction you put it on. The key is to look for it at your positions of entry. This is what you want to see. You want to see areas that has this type of support. Hopefully this makes sense, right? You really, really do. You want to see it have these areas that has this type of price action, right? It's really, really important because that is positioning, right? That is obviously stops. But when you see that type of absorption, that's big money put in there. Look at that fucking absorption again there in the 80. Look at that. But they're trying to buy it. They're trying to buy the breakout. But you see how we put back-to-back kind of weak highs here into like 82 into these highs? We'll see if they can bid through it. But wow. Very nice. Look at that. Woo! That was nice. You see that? They took a whole bunch here. They came up and revisited this offer. He said, give me everything you got. And look what it did. Burst on him. So that's how powerful order flow is. I see it before anybody else. And this is how absorption works, right? And this is how they hide their size. But at the end of the day, it just proves my thesis is that all you got to do is pay attention to the point. That's all that matters. It's all that matters. and it's how you can see it. See how we're selling, we immediately rejected. Those are opportunities, right? To make money, to trade with people that are moving the market, man. That's what you have to see, right? So we'll continue to do some replays on this, but this has been a great video as far as like showcasing you the stuff that is in those, everything that I've talked about. Absorption, inventory, passive versus aggressive, execution, icebergs, judging size, right? Using absorption as stops, right? And when business is done and everything that I went over there, you just saw within the first 25 minutes of the NQ, right? There you go. I hope you enjoyed the video. Come join the Discord, man. It's free for right now, right? Come on in. This is what I do all day long, right? You want to watch my levels, you want to watch my order flow charts, I'll give it to you, right? And I'm trying to do something cool here. So if you want to come in, you like what I'm doing, you want to actually learn how to trade, right? You really want to understand this stuff, come on in. You're going to work hard. You're going to work harder than you ever have because this is what it takes. This is what you have to understand. But come on in, right? Links are in the bio and or in the description. Give me a thumbs up on the video if you like it. Like and subscribe to this channel. I'd really appreciate it. Helps me kind of grow it as well. So other than that, get on your screens, get Sierra charts, and start watching this. All right. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a great weekend. Adios for now.